We're at prophecy number 40, and it talks about his hands and feet being pierced. Let's go to Psalm 22, the Messianic Psalm that you might be very familiar with. And let's begin reading at verse 1. It's not going to be from verse 1 that we find it, but let's begin there. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. And then it goes on in the psalm. And I want to skip down to let's go to verse 13. They gaped upon me with their mouths as a ravening and a roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. And this verse 16, of course, is where we see the prophetic utterance in this messianic psalm concerning the piercing of the Lord. They pierced my hands and my feet. This is also where the garments are parted. We're going to look at that in another prophecy. There's just so many prophetic utterances here in Psalm 22, including that first phrase, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? We'll cover those later, but this one is in particular about verse 16. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me, they pierced my hands and my feet. It is something to be said that there is an assembly of the wicked. And he was speaking, of course, of the Jewish leaders and their followers. How sad, but how true it was. And we find that in Luke chapter 24. This is the account in the book of Luke of Christ's appearance after his crucifixion, his 3 days and nights in the belly of the earth, and then his coming forth from the grave in resurrection power. And we see here in verse 39 the proclamation of the truth of the prophecy there found in Psalm 22:16. Here he goes. This is after he had talked to those that were from Emmaus and going to Emmaus and all that. Their eyes were opened. They knew it was him. And then they rose up. They ran back to Jerusalem, apparently. They found the 11 gathered there. And they said, the Lord is risen indeed, and hath appeared to Simon. And when they told what was done, how he had made himself known. Now, this is verse 36. And as they thus spake, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. Well, why did he say that? Because they were afraid. That's what it says in the next verse. They thought they had seen a ghost. And he said unto them, Why are ye troubled, and why do thoughts arise in your hearts? And this, verse 39, is the one that gives us the sealing of that prophecy. Behold, my hands and my feet, it is I myself. Handle me, and see, for a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as you see me have. And when he had thus spoken, he showed him his hands and his feet, the pierced hands and feet of the Lord Jesus. We know from reading the gospel accounts of the crucifixion that the hands and the feet were pierced. We also know his side was pierced. But here he comes in resurrected form and shows them his hands and his feet. Fulfillment of prophecy indeed.